right, and we're back. This is episode 135 of the Taproom Podcast, and I'm your host, Mike. Oh man, am I stoked for this week's episode. It was with Anne Obenchain, the Vice President of Marketing of the Brewers Association. Honestly, it was super fun. So grateful to her for coming on the show and talking to me about GABF, and all the events, that come along with it, like as we say on the episode, the festivals within the festival, and what it means to this community and stuff like that. So Anne, thank you so much. I'm so grateful. And thank you to Chris Williams, the competition director. I asked him, I had him on last year, and I asked him, hey man, do you know anybody else that might want to do the show? We could talk about GABF. And, he mentioned Anne right away. So I'm just super grateful to, to him, to Anne, and just, for this community in general. But yeah, it is bright and early. It is 8 a.m. on Saturday morning. Don't always record on the intros on Saturday morning, but tomorrow I don't want to do shit because it's going to be a long day today. We got my uncle Gunnar. He's his birthday today. So yesterday we went to Green Cheek out in Sunset Beach. Man, I love that spot. We also actually went to the beach right after, took Morgie to the water. She had a great time, but great beers at Green Cheek. And man, I'm just I'm a little tired. But today I'm going to be barbecuing. So I'm going to be cooking pork tenderloin. Going to be doing some hot links. Going to be doing some, what do you want to call it? I'm going to do some chicken sausages, but I'm going to dice them up, put a little pineapple habanero rub on there. Fire. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, there's going to be a day of college football. Got some great games today, so I'm excited about that. We'll see how it all plays out. SC's playing their first Big Ten game. Might have taken them in the points, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, man, this is what life's all about, having a good time. Packers are 2-0. That's right. The Micah effect. Man, it's I haven't been this, I'm always excited about the Packers, but I haven't been this excited about the team in a long, long time. So we'll see how that all goes, man. And also for GABF, getting back to it, head over, if you're in the Denver area and you've never been, or if you're flying there, or you want to go there, man, get out there and check it out. You can go to greatamericanbeerfestival.com for your tickets, stuff like that. And I always say find your beer. And it's about that, but it's about kind of getting out and just going on on a brewery adventure and wanting more, and, wanting to continue to grow and learn and, do different things, and being able to talk to different people out there, which is, we talk about on the episode. I don't want to give too much away, but we talked about, like I said, the festivals within the festival, and it's just great people out there, man. So, and yeah, what else we got this week? Oh, I got to record with Tio on this past Sunday over at Crown and Hops. Man, that was such a great episode, and I'm super excited for you guys to hear that soon. It'll be out in a few weeks, but man, hearing his story and I think we talked for about 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 45 minutes or something. And we, like I said, it was just, man, it was crazy to hear about his journey and stuff like that. So yeah, I think I'm going to shut up now. But before we jump into the episode, make sure if you guys want to support the show, there's a couple ways you can. If you want to go out and buy a t-shirt, you go to taproompodcast.dashery.com. Again, that's taproompodcast.dashery.com for t-shirts. Also, I know times are tough, so if you want to, or if you can either go to Spotify or wherever you listen on whether it's Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Prime Music or YouTube Music. You can go and then you give a 5-star review. That would be great. All right. Well, hope you guys enjoy the episode or enjoy the interview with Anne Obenchain, and stay tuned for the outro. The countdown coming through. There we go. All right, guys, we're back in the tap room, and I'm your host, Mike. And I have a very special guest on the show today. I have Anne Obenchain. She's the Vice President of Marketing for the Brewers Association, GABF, and the World Beer Cup. How are you?
Great, Mike. How are you today?
I'm doing well. I just got back from Texas, so I was a little tired this morning. But anytime I'm ready to record, I'm ready to go. So, first thing I was love to ask is how did your journey in craft beer start? Where did it all start for you?
It started. This is probably a story that everybody always has, but moved out to Northern California in the early 90s, and no, late 80s. Oh my gosh. And this amazing beer that was like magic in a glass. I hadn't had
Okay.
anything that tasted so great and full flavored. And I'll give you one guess what it was.
Sierra Nevada?
Exactly.
There it is.
There it is. There it is. I
Love
think
it.
that's a first for probably a lot of folks at of a certain age. And then I also was living across from one of Gordon Biersch's first tap rooms. So I was
Okay.
spoiled. I had Anchor Steam, I had Sierra Nevada, and I had Gordon Biersch all
Wow.
in my backyard and within my reach, and I never turned back.
Oh, I love that. Like, I mean, because even like Anchor Steam, I mean, it's obviously not really going to be around anymore, but it was like that. Well, I mean, you had Sierra Nevada, you had that, and you had Gordon Biersch. That's wow. You were spoiled.
And it was a big difference from coming out of college after all those keggers at college with, some just generic light beer. So it was great.
I love that. I love that for you. How was the word? What happened after that?
Well, after that, I've worked on both coasts. I'm here now in Colorado, and craft beer was always part of my journey and part of, loving it. And I got the
Mm-hmm.
opportunity to make it part of my job back in 2017. So when I joined the Brewers Association.
I love that. That's so cool. And I mean, I'm sure you've probably seen, obviously, the industry's evolved so much over the years, like whether it was in the boom or even like how things are going right now, it just continues to change and evolve. And it's crazy to think of where the industry was even like 35, 40 years ago compared to where it is now.
It really is. And I still remember, one of the ways I got to know the industry even closer was before I worked in beer, I worked in the outdoor industry, and Dale of Dale's Pale Ale at the time
Mm-hmm.
was the first one to can beer. If you can
Yeah.
remember, like now cans are everywhere.
Yeah.
And that wasn't very long ago. And he was hand canning just up the street, two at a time. And then it grew. But he
Mm-hmm.
came into my office one day and he said, I want to be the backpacking beer. And so we worked on some programs later, but no one had seen. It's like, this is real strong. It's, craft beer in a can. Who would have thought
Yeah.
that you can bring that with you, to the trailhead in your backpack or enjoy it after you've been out on the trail. So we worked on some fun projects, but that was not long ago. And now the industry is almost all cans
Mm.
and convenience in aluminum.
I love that. And I mean, and now like doing what you're doing for like, being the marketing director behind obviously the Brewers Association, GABF and World Beer Cup, like, how does how did that come about for you? Was it just by sheer happenstance or was it just like I know you obviously worked with Dale before, but how did that happen?
Well, years later, I was actually walking out of a parking lot that's across from our office in Boulder, and I saw
Mm-hmm.
we have a canopy, and it says Brewers Association, and I didn't
Mm-hmm.
realize, I was like, oh, I wonder what that is, and I'm the type of person that will go online and look up, what is, Wikipedia is my best friend,
Yeah.
and Google
Oh
these
yeah.
days, and
Mm-hmm.
ChatGPT, and it happened that my job was posted, and so I was like, who do I know in the beer industry that could help me at least get a foot in the door? And
Yeah.
I called up Dale and I said, hey, do you know anyone over there? And within another minute or two, he had introduced me via email to the CEO at the time and some of the other staff. And here I am. So
That's so
connections
cool.
work, I
Oh yeah.
think.
And even like, but it just goes to show like how great the community is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we see the collaboration of brewers. Beer really knows no borders, whether it's international collaboration, local, national. We see that at the festival. We see that, through helping each other when there's hurricanes or earthquakes or fire or flood. And then they love to collaborate and learn from each other and experiment. And, we've had so many
Oh yeah.
wonderful collaboration beers, whether at festivals or special editions for customers to enjoy.
I love that. Starting there in 2017, how have you seen like whether it's GABF or like World Beer Cup, like how have you seen those festivals involve like like both like obviously in scale and in influence per se?
I think I've seen we've seen so many different trends and so many
Mm-hmm.
different, things change as people are experimenting. We've seen, incredible growth of non-alcoholic beers.
Mm-hmm.
At one point years ago, Great American Beer Festival had judged NA beers, and then there were not enough entries and nobody was making it. And then,
Yeah.
a decade passed, and then all of a sudden now consumer preferences have changed and people are making them, and it has become the fastest category in craft beer, and it's become a growing competitive category. Gluten-free beers, another piece of that, is a lot. People are looking for different tastes and different things to match their diets.
Yeah.
Introduction of sours,
Mm-hmm.
that came up. So folks are continuing to expand and push the borders and boundaries of flavor and taste. And it's pretty exciting.
Oh, I bet. And I feel like, I mean, even like, cause like I'm sure there's like some hardcore craft beer enthusiasts who are like, oh no, we want to stay away from this or that. But like, like how do you cater, like, well, not cater to, but like, how do like the events, like, how do you market the events and not just the hardcore craft beer people, like to also just people, maybe newcomers to the craft beer scene, like people that drink NA beers or like the people that are really into seltzers and other stuff like that.
For the Great American Beer Festival, we like to say we have a beverage for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what flavor and no profile you're looking for. We have non-alcoholic beers, we have gluten-free beers, we have sours, we have stouts, we have rice lagers, you name it. We have all of those beers. But then we also, if you're not sure if you like beer, guess what? We also pour seltzers, we pour ciders. This year, we're actually pouring distilled spirits,
Oh, wow.
because a lot of brewers are expanding, as consumers are changing their preferences, or they're drinking more things. And
Of course.
so brewers are doing all of these things, and we want that experience that they get at the brewery or the distillery to be the same when they come to the festival. So there's really a drink for everyone there.
I love it. I love it. What's your favorite part of like whether it's GABF? We'll talk about GABF because since it is coming up, what would be like? What's your favorite part of the festival?
That is really hard to say. It's like having multiple
Yeah.
children, because the festival has so many festivals within
Mm-hmm.
itself. First you have the beverages, which
Yeah.
it's really fun to see the brewers that are coming, and they're coming from all over the US. Nearly all 50 states are there. So the festival is pouring beer that you normally couldn't get in Colorado,
Yeah.
so we pull some special licenses, and we're appreciative of that. But so you can find things that you can't get at home. So that is just fun, just to see what people have been up to. It's sort of like walking into a kitchen or a restaurant and going, oh, what have they been cooking up today? So that's really fun. One of my favorite festival within the festival is Paired, an event called Paired, where it's a food and beer pairing event
Love
where
that.
we bring in chefs from all over the country. Most of them are Michelin or James Beard Award winners or nominees. And we pair them with a brewery, or now a cidery or a distillery, and they will pour a drink that you can't get on the festival floor, and then they match it to a specific dish. So you get a small bite, you get a like a tapa size
Okay.
portion, and then a drink to pair with that. So you can see how those things marry. The taste of the food marries with the beer.
I love that.
So
That's
that's
really
really
cool.
fun. And then when you're full, there's so many fun activities to do as well. So there's a silent disco, there's a lip sync contest. We have
Okay.
live music stages, so you can listen to live music. We have a backyard where there's cornhole and all sorts of backyard games. We have another experience area where it's a sports, like a sports bar, so you can watch sports or play games. We have lots of just different things that you can do. So it's really in addition to sensory for your mouth, it's sensory
Mm-hmm.
for all, your eyes and your ears and everything.
Oh, I bet. And I bet just like walking the floor and all of that, I'm sure it's like, I would just, I mean, I'd be like a kid in a candy store, just wanting to go up to everybody. And then obviously, like obviously getting to meet like the brewers from different places. Because I mean, I talked to a lot of brewers out here, but getting to be able to meet somebody from across the country, like face to face, I'm sure would just be just an amazing thing.
Yeah, one of the sections we have is called Meet the Brewer.
Okay.
So those are breweries where the head brewer or the owner or someone like that is there all the time, and you can, as a consumer, you can talk to them, which is so fun. The line to talk to Sam Calgione from Dogfish Head is
Mm-hmm.
always long, and he just
I
loves
bet.
it. He's such a fun person, and people love chatting with him.
Well, I've heard nothing but like I've talked to a few people that know him or worked under him, and they just said he's just a delight as a human being.
He really is. Yeah.
Yeah. I need to get out there. I need to get out there this year and and go meet everybody and just try all the beers I can, because I know there's events, like I mean big events like that. And the silent disco, is that where you wear the headphones?
Yeah, it's where you wear the headphones, so only you can hear the music or the other
Okay.
people dancing around you. So people watching, it can be a spectator or a participatory event, because watching it's pretty funny too, just to see everybody dancing, and you hear what they're dancing to unless you've got a pair of headphones.
Okay. Yeah, because I've heard of it, I've just never seen it. So I was like, oh man, I'd probably be like the one, like, because I don't know if I'd listen to the music, but I'd be one of the ones standing there having a beer watching for sure.
Right.
This next segment I like to call, it's called the four pack. Mitchell, it's just four different questions. The first one is, what's one beer that never leaves your fridge?
Question.
I know
Well,
it's a loaded question too. So
it is a loaded question, and it's because we're in Colorado, we have, winter and summer. So I do have to admit, like my clothing closet, my fridge
hmm
changes in drinks. So it leaves, I guess I should say it leaves temporarily in the winter time.
Okay.
And then some come back in the summer. But locally, there's a brewery called Wibby based up in
Okay.
Longmont. And right now we're in summer, but I love their Radlers, and
hmm
they do one called Light Shine Radler, which in the summer is just so refreshing and so good. I do have a can of Sierra Nevada Pale Ale in my fridge,
Okay.
just 'cause, right? It's been
Yeah.
forever, but it's always a classic.
hmm
I also have, and then in the winter, I tend to go for a little bit darker
Okay.
beers. So the bourbon aged barrel stouts and the
hmm
porters and the oatmeal stouts, those are usually styles that end up in my fridge in the winter, but they don't come I don't drink them as much in the summer.
Oh yeah, they're a little too heavy to
Yeah.
be a summer
Yeah.
beer for sure. The next question: Have you ever like thought about? Well, have they ever offered maybe to like, hey, do you want to judge on this side, or like, or ever try to get into that part?
It would be really fun to judge. I have gone
hmm
through some of the Cicerone training, but I have discovered I have like what I would call a blind spot or a dead spot in my palate. So I don't
Okay.
always pick up all of the senses that some of our judges are the best palates in the world, and they have incredible sensory skills that
Mhm.
I don't think I could ever have. So I just love to admire.
No, oh, yeah. Because I
Yeah.
feel like my palate's developed over the years after like doing this for a while now, but it's still like there's still times I'm like, wait, what am I getting from that? And I have to kind of like, sometimes I'll have like a base and then I'll have like that. And then I'm like, oh, just to try to figure it out that way. But it's not very easy. That's why I was like, I'll trust the judges to tell me what's what.
Yeah. Yeah, they do an amazing job. And then I love, going back to Great American Beer Festival, one of the tap rooms that we have is called the Heavy Metal
Ooh, okay.
tap room. And so we pour past medal winning beer from both the World Beer Cup and the Great American Beer Festival. So that's an amazing place to go, and you can taste what a world class gold
Mm-hmm.
medal, whatever the category, IPA or stout or anything in between, Italian Pilsner. And it's like, wow, it's like getting, poured an amazing glass of wine. It's just like the most amazing beer right there. It's like the chalice. It's so fun.
Oh, I bet. And I love that. And I mean, that would be, man, yeah, okay. And is that, so I'm assuming it's just on the floor then somewhere, like,
Yeah, it's on the
for
floor of
GABF?
the
Okay.
festival. It's called heavy metal. And
Okay.
that's where I always recommend, especially if someone's new to the festival or new to beer styles, they only maybe know one beer style. I like to send them there first to really
Of
see,
course.
like, here's what a best in class style tastes like.
Okay. I love that. I mean, I'm going to definitely have to check that place out. The next question in the four pack, if there was ever going to be, I mean, there's so much collaboration, right, within the industry. Like, if you could make a collab with a brewery and have, like, what style would you want to make? Like, what style of beer? I guess it could depend on the season, like we mentioned before.
Making an Italian Pilsner would be really
Okay.
interesting. It's a light style. It's a
Mm-hmm.
relatively difficult style, and it has a broad appeal.
Oh yeah. And when they're done right, they're just so good.
They're so good. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a brewery out here, Native Son in LA. They used to have, I don't know if they still make it, but they used to have one called Pasta Water, and it was an Italian Pilsner, and it was chef's kiss, big time.
What a great name for it too.
I know, perfect, right? And because it was a little cloudy too, and I was like, oh man, that's like, it just worked out, perfectly. The last question in the four pack, what's a guilty pleasure you have, like, or secretly have, or maybe it's not so much of a secret?
We have a bar at the office at the Brewers Association.
Love it.
And one of our staff is in charge of putting new things on tap. But a guilty pleasure, but it's not so guilty because it's part of our job. But
Yeah.
around 4:30, we can go down, and there's usually 4 different beers on tap. So and then there's usually some samples from other members in our refrigerator, so we can pour ourselves a fresh beer on tap. That's something maybe we haven't had for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that. That I probably, if I worked, I probably wouldn't get a whole lot done.
That's why it's 4:30, I think, is when we can go down and
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
We can't go down at 9.
Yeah.
I can't come in the back door at 8:00 in the morning and pour
That's
myself
true.
a beer.
Sometimes you just need that, what do you want to call it? That, like, that motivation to be able to, what's the word? And I can edit this after. The inspiration. So you need that inspirational beer to get you going.
Yeah.
So another question I had for you is, because I'm always curious, because I know there's so many different categories and there's so many different things that they judge off of, for different categories to be awarded in. How many are there total? Because I know there's so many, and I feel like it keeps growing.
In general, there's usually about 100 style categories that we'll judge to. Sometimes it will grow or shrink by 1 or 2 styles. Last year they added the Italian Pilsner to World Beer Cup.
Love it.
This year at Great American Beer Festival, there's a special category called the Vera Hop category. Vera Hop is it's like our first public hop. That's our publicly breeded hop variety. So
okay.
So brewers that are using that hop, they were part of the sourcing and part of the selecting of that varietal. Now they have the opportunity to brew with it. So we have a special category there. Or sometimes, depending on the timing of the festival, we might have a fresh hop category.
Okay.
The beers are brewed with the current harvest. But in general, there's about 100 to 103 or 4 styles every year.
I love that. I think that's so cool, like that Vera hop. That's so interesting. And I'm always curious, as to, that being a part of it, but who comes up with some of the things. And I love that because, that's a genius idea. And I just think it's something that will only help, bring more people to the festival, and then obviously want more people to come because of something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
I was curious, so because obviously, collaborations are, they're huge, right? Especially with breweries, especially I know out here in California, there's always collabs. There's so many different breweries out here in Southern California. But how does that, collaborations and sponsors or other different media outlets amplify the event?
for the collaborations specifically in the Great American Beer Festival competition, we do have a collaboration category. And so breweries can enter there. We also have a pro-am category where a brewery has worked with a home brewer and they've scaled up their homebrew to a
Okay.
professional commercial viable piece. Those collaboration beers are also served in an area, a collaboration booth on the floor so folks can taste those. And then sometimes the brewers will announce if they're pouring, what they're pouring might be a special collaboration. I haven't looked at the pour list yet this year, but they
Okay.
might advertise that on their social media. And then, of course, when we announce the winners, we do get quite a bit of media attention for all of the winners of the festival.
I bet. And I mean, I'm sure it brings, like, obviously the festival brings so much, awareness to that city. Cause I always see, like, and I was talking about like some of the, talking to a few buddies that went last year and they were talking about all the different events, whether it was at GABF or just around the city, and the city embraces it, I feel like, as well.
Yeah, Denver, I mean, Colorado, like California, is a
Mm-hmm.
big craft beer state. There's over 400 breweries in the state of Colorado. I think there's nearly 200 in the Denver metro area, or
Yeah.
Denver front, what we call the front range of Denver. So, the festival got started just north of Denver in Boulder in 1982 and has always been in Denver, been a cornerstone event for people traveling to Colorado or just Coloradans in general. It's a must do. And so there will be a lot of what we call week events. It's almost like Great American Beer Festival week. It's like we have the festival, but then many of, we were just talking about collaborations. Brewers will come in and do a special tap takeover of maybe different beers that might normally not be on tap or at a guest brewery,
Mm.
or breweries will hold special events in addition. So when people are done at the festival, they can continue
Yeah.
their beer adventures out in Denver.
Oh yeah. They get to do their beer research.
Right. Research is very important.
Always. But I ask, because even like, I know we're talking about like obviously like media outlets and stuff like that too, but like social media, like how was that? How do you guys feel like, I mean, from 2017 to now, how do you feel like that's grown when it comes to building the hype and kind of telling the story of like GABF?
Yeah, I mean, well, social media in the last 8 years, wow, it's so different than it was
Mm-hmm.
in 2017. And, the role of influencers has really taken off for our festival. We use both organic
Mm-hmm.
and paid influencers in various groups. That's been fun. We've recently been able to start a TikTok channel, to share some of the Great American Beer Festival stories on TikTok. But, social media is really where information is shared, and we can really do a really good job of showing, what that experience looks like and showcasing the overall experience of the festival on social media.
Of course. I mean, and it's like you said, it's so important, and it's evolved so much over the years that like you have to have a presence or it's right, and just to be able to keep up.
Absolutely.
I wanted to ask, because I know like we're talking about GABF, but I just had like a World Beer Cup question as well. Like, if like, how is it, like, how does the engagement start, like when it comes to, because obviously I know there's like the breweries out there, they know about World Beer Cup and stuff like that, but like, how do you engage different breweries, or beer lovers across like different countries, right? Like to come out, because I mean they're coming over from everywhere. So
Well,
yeah.
we certainly do that versus our own outreach directly. Our competition director has a lot of his contacts, but yeah, it's the same. We recruit via email and social media and
Mm.
advertising, and we usually get about 60 different countries entering into the World Beer Cup competition.
I love that. That's cool. I mean, and the more like, the more I feel like the engagement we get out there and the more people get involved, because I always say like find your beer, but it's like more or less like it is. Yeah, it's about going out and trying different things and going to different tap rooms and finding a beer or even a seltzer or something that gets you into it. But if you can like, but it's also about finding something you love and not like being afraid to get out there and get after it, which is what I feel like what is the spirit of like, of any brewer is that wanting, not having the fear like to fail or anything like that.
Yeah, and the collaboration, I think I said at the top of the podcast, beer knows no borders, and it's been fun to go. The World Beer Cup ceremony is usually in conjunction with our industry conference called the Craft Brewers Conference.
Yeah.
But it's been fun to see. We have international visitors coming, brewers coming, and it's fun to see the room, which is mostly North Americans, cheering on their feet, cheering for someone from Japan winning the gold medal, or somebody from Brazil, or somebody from Germany. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's been fun to see that camaraderie and support. And I know that probably collaborations and information has been exchanged at those ceremonies.
I love that. It's so cool, and it's great to hear stuff like that, because I mean, the more insight we can get, and like, or that other people can hear and stuff like that, it'll hopefully make more people want to go to the festivals and be a part of it. I have a few more questions for you. One of them I wanted to ask, and we may have already, because we did touch on it, but it's like, if you could have one beer style, even though it's blasphemy, for the rest of your life, but like, would it be that would it be that Italian Pilsner, or what do you think?
I think I'm stuck on Italy right now, so I'm going to stay with the
Okay.
Italian Pilsner.
I love it. No, I feel this. I'm
Like a
with you
game
on that.
show.
Because I love a
Italian
good.
Pilsner for 500.
Mm-hmm. There it is. I love that. And I know we've talked a ton about GABF and stuff like that, because it's coming up and it's so important to the industry. What is it like? What does GABF like mean to you, and what do you feel like it means to the community?
Well, I think, in my role as a trade association, part of our role is to promote the category of beer
Mm-hmm.
and make sure that it's at the forefront of consumers. And so every year, I feel like it's Christmas holiday, right? For
Mm-hmm.
GABF. GABF is its own holiday.
Yeah.
And it is really a privilege and an honor to be able to promote the category of beer to the community, and talk, we go on TV and radio, and we talk about, like, here are some new things, like, about, non-alcoholic beers and gluten-free beers and
Mm-hmm.
sours and seltzers, and just talking about all of the different flavor profiles that hopefully get consumers thinking about considering drinking beer. If it's been a while since they've had a beer,
Yeah.
it's like, well, maybe go to your local tap room or liquor store and see what's new, and try something new. Put something new in your basket when you go home.
I love that. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's what it's all about, getting out there and getting people back into tap rooms and stuff like that, and wanting people to just get out there and try something new. You never know, you might
Yeah.
end up finding something you love. So
Exactly.
so this is a question. This is a newer question. I mean, it's a newer question I've been asking on the show. Do you have, like, I know you named 3 of them earlier, but if you had a Mount Rushmore of breweries, I feel like it could be, Sierra Nevada. Anchor seemed way back when, but
Rushmore of breweries is a really interesting. That is an interesting image in my head that you've planted.
yeah. It would just be a 4-pack of cans. It'd be just different cans along the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. Gosh, there's so many folks doing such great stuff.
Mm-hmm. I know, it's fantastic.
I might put. We're not supposed to pick. I can't pick favorites, but
It's okay. Okay, well, what if we do the Mount Rushmore of events at GABF?
No, we can stay with the beers. I just think,
Okay.
that there's so many people doing so much great stuff. I mean, I'd kind of have to pick some of the long-standing founding folks of doing great things. I mean, Boston Beer Company, Sam Adams.
Yeah.
I have to do Sierra Nevada. Allagash is
Mm-hmm.
doing amazing things. Bell's, and
Yeah.
some of them have changed ownership. And then I would add, I mean, there's so many other great ones that are small and upcoming. There's Ratio Beer Works. There's just crazy. There's Wibby doing,
Mm-hmm.
in specializing what they do. So it's so hard to, I mean, everybody, they're all artists and they've
Yeah.
perfected their art, and their art is a little bit different. It's almost like saying, do you like oil painting, oil paintings and watercolors? It's like they're all amazing. And so I'll leave it there.
Oh yeah. No, I love that. I mean, and I love the answers too, because of those, like a lot of times because there is so much like great new stuff out there and great new breweries out there, sometimes we forget about those, right? We forget about, like, I haven't had an Allagash in a long time, but now I kind of want one, you know?
Yeah. Allagash
So I
White,
might have to, yeah, I
or
might
go
have to
get a
go get
Port
one after
City.
work.
I forgot Port City Optimal Wit,
Mm-hmm.
consistently wins at the wit beer category at all of our festivals. And, these are long-standing breweries they've perfected the art of brewing and are offering amazing things, but so are some of the new ones too. So
Oh yeah.
it's hard to choose.
Oh yeah. Wanted to ask you, so just just a couple more things. And we talked about paired, and I think that's really like that's a really cool concept. Do you have like anything, or maybe from past ones, or you've tried it, or is it relatively new, or is that something that's been
We've
around
been
for a bit?
offering paired for over 10 years.
Oh
So
wow, okay,
yeah, so it's been around, and we used to have another event in Washington, D.C. called Savor, which was the same concept, but just the food and beer pairing piece. So it's been a really successful concept, and it brings people in that might normally, they come for the food and then they discover the beer, and then they
mm-hmm,
become beer lovers. But, last year there were a few that I just loved. Like, I can give you a couple combos. One was, I'll
yeah,
start with dessert first, because you always
okay,
have to have dessert first. But
oh
one
yeah,
was and it's peach season. So one was a Palisade peach panna cotta that was then paired with a farmhouse saison.
wow,
So don't those two sound amazing?
mm-hmm, yeah,
Or a blue crab salad with a crispy radish on top. And then
wow,
that was paired with Maine Beer Company's lunch, which is a IPA.
okay,
So super, super yummy. And then one of our chefs from DC, he did a sweet soy shrimp dumpling and served it with a light lager. So there's lots of different pairings there that are pretty amazing. So
oh
those are
man,
just a
that all
couple
sounds
things
good.
that stood out to me from last year.
I love it. You know what, I was gonna ask, because I had one last question for you, but I just thought of one. Like, are there any other local places, like, if they're continuing their research after GABF, that people you think that they should venture out to?
There's lots of great places, and I think the best thing to do, we'll be putting it up in the next couple of weeks. But whether or not you're going to Great American Beer Festival, we certainly hope you do, or not, you can go to the Great American Beer Festival website, and there'll be a section called Week Events. And that's where
Okay,
you can see the calendar of other events going on at the same time as the festival. We haven't put it up yet. We usually wait, and it's put up about a month before the fest.
okay, I love that. I'm gonna have to check it out. I just want to tell you before we finish up, this has been super fun, and I really appreciate you taking the time to come on and talk to me for a little
Well,
bit.
thanks for having me. I love talking about beer any chance I get.
I know, me too. It's like I'll end up at a brewery and I'll just talking to someone just by chance, and then we're end up talking for an hour, and I'm like, yeah, probably should have recorded that, you know. But the last question, if you had to describe GABF in one word, what would it be?
Amazing.
I love it. Yeah. And this has been an amazing conversation. I'm really just truly grateful that because I messaged Chris and I was like, hey man, would love to do something, because it was right. We talked right after World Beer Cup, and I was like, I'd love to have somebody on eventually. Like, this was over a year ago, but then I mentioned it to him this year. I was like, I'd love to have someone on to talk about GABF. Is there anybody that you might think that might be interested? And he mentioned your name right away, and I'm so glad he did.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Appreciate you taking the time, and thank you for the invite.
Of course. Well, we can chat up for a few minutes off air, but everybody, if you're listening, if you haven't been to GABF, you need to go. And if you're a brewery and you're submitting something, you should be there. So get over there and check it out. Anything else that's coming up prior to the event that maybe we should promote?
Oh gosh, just the event. It's October 9th
Yeah.
to the 11th
Mm-hmm.
at the Denver Convention Center. So get over to greatamericanbeerfestival.com and grab your tickets.
Sounds great. Well, thank you so much, Anne. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Like I said, it was a great time with Anne. And honestly, I wish I was able to go to GABF this year. I've just got so much travel coming up for work. I'm not going to be able to get out there, but either next year. Oh, it's got to be next year. I want to go to CBC and then also go to GABF. That'd be fun. Just set aside the time to do that. I did want to mention as well, so the upcoming episodes. So next week, finally, I feel like we recorded so long ago, but me and Steven Torres of Gladiator, that was such a fun episode. And then after that will be Liam and Thomas from 8-Bit. And then the week after that will be Tio. And I'll be out in I'll be back in Dallas, and I will be in Orlando. So trying to talk to some breweries out there right now to see what we can do. This episode is going to be a little on the shorter side. So yeah, I mean, I'm just so grateful for you guys. I'm grateful for everyone that listens. I'm grateful to the community. I'm grateful to Anne. And again, if you're planning on going out there, make sure you get your tickets at greatamericanbeerfestival.com. Also, as Anne mentioned before, they have the events of the week. So you guys can, if you're out there, make sure you go check that out on their website to see like what else is going on outside the festival, after that particular day is done. But man, I wish I was going out there, to talk to people, and I would record so many episodes. But yeah, I'm glad that we got to do this. Sorry, I'm a little tired if I sound a little off. But yeah. All right, guys. Well, I got to get started on cooking. All right. Well, hope everybody has a great Sunday, has a great week. And don't forget to support local, drink local, and find your beer. Cheers.